I'm Erik. I'm a failed game developer. I try to tell myself that all the money that I've lost on making games has actually come to good use in building Nordic Game into the largest game developer conference in Europe. It just took twice as long as I thought it would, but we eventually realized that. So now I'm sort of seeing the end of my career, thinking about pensions and stuff. So I thought I'd try something really hard to cap it all off. And I do try to tell myself that yes, I could work with investments in games because of the amounts of money that I've wasted on trying to make games. I can almost make games, I can tell myself on a good morning, but I've always been pretty crap at selling them. And I think I can recognize those traits in others. So, who are you? Are you game developers that are looking for investments right now? Please raise a hand. Yes, and it's okay to turn around and look at the other people behind you that are also looking for the same money. It's totally okay. Good. I hope we're all in the right room together. And yes, I should follow VP's example here, so you know a little bit more about me. If a game has swords or elves, it's not for me. It'll make me fall asleep. I don't read those books anymore. It just bores the hell out of me. I have finished both GTA 5 and Mafia 3 and all the downloadable content. I hate Fortnite. The kids kill me immediately. I hate it. I mean, my first console was actually a Nintendo 64. My first game that I got sort of good at was Arcade Defender. But twin sticks sort of came late to me. I've always had problems with my motor skills, and let me stop complaining about that and go on to what might the first slide be. Is it the big green button, possibly? No. Is it oh, there's an arrow. Yes. Yeah. It's too designed. I didn't even understand it was an arrow. Yes, money is being invested in games in the Nordics. I think we ripped all these numbers from Deal Room, so they should have credit for this. And this is just 6 months in 2018. And as I think everybody in this room is aware, some of our very, very dear old Icelandic friends will pop that out of the chart for this year, and that's only 9 months in. This is number of investments. I don't know how important that is, but I'm sort of I used to collect stamps when I was a kid. I like stuff like that. So yes, the numbers of investments in Sweden were a lot larger than in Finland, and last year it was pretty even, and so far this year it looks pretty even. I don't know why that says but at the end of the line, I mean, there are several exits here. I mean, this is acquisitions. That's selling your company, basically, at least the majority of the company. And those have been a little bit unbalanced. But I mean, we're talking 10 to 12 major deals per year here. So that will flip around. I don't know. Yeah, well, that's about that. And now I will talk forever about the small print here. I mean, you either finance your game or you finance your company, and you really have to figure out which you're doing. If you want venture capital, if you think venture capital is something for you, you do have to have a more long-run approach to it. I mean, there's all sorts of loans. I didn't even list bank loans because in my mind those are, I mean, by the point you are, I mean, your house or your apartment is already borrowed to the hilt, so you can't offer very much that will interest a bank as collateral, and then they won't lend you any money. Slightly exaggerating, but I think That's the approach, that's the rule. You can get grants and subsidies. They could go towards your game, or they could go towards building your company. Yes, a quaint factory silhouette there symbolizes your company, how strange it might seem. And these are, it's also about the stages that you're in. If we're looking at equity investment, such as IPOs, and initial public offerings, when you float your stock on a stock exchange, a big one or a small one, then you're selling your stock suddenly to not only institutional investors, but also to the general public. And that's sort of, yes, that's the crowning achievement of a capitalist, being listed on a stock exchange. But if that's your approach, and you can see the different approaches in different companies when they got listed, is it about the owners recouping? Is it about the owners saying, well, it might not get better than this, so I'd better cash in a bit? Or is it also, but it's also very, very good also for the owners, even if they don't really need the money. They're not cashing out, but putting a value on their stock. I mean the capitalism, stock exchange, money, it's all a game. And money is the score. It's a very, very easy measurement of your achievement, whether it's good, bad, or it's a very clear measurement of what you've done in other people's eyes, at the very least. What are they willing to pay to get a piece of what you've built? And if you're very nice and hand me a business card at the end, if you think there's something interesting in the fine print on these slides, just give me a business card and you can get the slides, of course. And it varies. I mean, this huge span in the numbers. Are we looking at 1,000 euros from a friend that will sort of tide you and the team over to next month because you can actually pay the rent and electricity and the Coca-Cola, that is? Or it won't go long, will it? Now, I'm getting off track here. Let's look at that differentiation. Project funding, whatever the source, that goes toward your game. It could go towards marketing in some cases, and in some cases it doesn't. That's what that sort of old horn symbolizes. VC funding, that goes towards building your company. It's totally okay to give people money. VCs do understand. VCs do understand that you need to have a salary to come into work. Even if you're an owner you're a founder of the company, a VC really wants you to feel good, not to lay awake at night and figuring out how to meet your next mortgage payment. If you're going to lay awake at night, it's how to meet your delivery deadlines for the game. That's what the VC wants to see you do. And of course you can use it towards marketing. What you can never ever do with the VC's money is to pay off old debt. However good that will make you feel. No. That's when a VC sees their money draining off into something irrelevant. You need to have that solved or pushed into the future. The pros of VC funding is that they actually also bring people. VCs bring people and contacts and so forth that will help you because they are with you in this. They will help you build your company with skills and mentoring you and opening doors for you. That's what they're about. The con is, well, you might not like all those people. So you better figure out, I mean, a VC is someone that you might be working together with for 10 years. You will have him or her on your board or their colleagues and so forth. So if, I mean, this is up to you. How do you judge people? But this might be one of the most important people judgments you will ever do, bringing the right VCs on board. And another con is, of course, you're giving the VCs a substantial part of your company. But they, as a rule, they really don't want more than a quarter of it. They want to, I mean, that's a rule of thumb. If you don't have VC money, they'd be happy to take a quarter. If they want more, you need to look closely at them, because then what are they? Are they actually VCs? Because a VC knows that there will be more money needed eventually. So other chunks of the company will need to be sold off to the VC or to other investors. VCs like to have other investors on board because they don't compete for deals. That's not how VCs look at it. They look at sharing risk. Having another good VC on board that antes up half the money and bring their skills and contacts to it. In the eyes of a real good, real pure play VC, that's good. They'd like to have other VCs on board. Eventually your cap table can get a bit messy, but your first VCs certainly do not want to take too large a chunk of your company. Again, if they are talking about half or 49, look out, there's something fishy. Mergers and acquisitions, yeah, well, that's when somebody buys all of your company. Strategic investors, eventually, they are looking to buy eventually all of your company. That's what's in the sights. They're not interested. That's by definition in having half of your company. They might be interested in having you and your staff still have a slice and to keep you on board for years to come. But they certainly want to have absolute say, the last say, and full control. That is what a merger or acquisition is all about. And these are equity investors that are active VCs, most of them, active in the Nordics. And these are known to you. I mean, Creandum, EQT from Sweden, well, they're domiciled in Luxembourg. That sort of shows their pros at this game when you're domiciled in a tax haven or other. Initial Capital, they're actually a private company, and even London Venture Partners, they're not a VC company. They're a gang of rich friends, basically. Slightly exaggerating. Nordic Game Ventures, that's who me and my friends are, and we're starting out and trying to figure. I've been an LP, a limited partner, the one who is on board for a couple of venture funds for years, trying to learn sort of guerrilla style how this works. North Zone Play Ventures are coming, domiciled in Singapore, but you'll have Harry here as collateral in Helsinki, I believe. Spin-Top Ventures, that's the fund, or a couple of those funds I've been involved in. They are betting not only on games. I mean, they have Small Giant, and they sort of lucked into that. So I don't expect to see very much more game investments from Spin-Top, actually. And then we, of course, have Samuli and Sisu, and also Sunstone from Denmark. And I mean, it's widely varying. I mean, we're talking 30 million down to 50k euros. How does that make sense? Well, sort of depends on your situation. You should certainly not go talking to the smaller guys, us, who invest not very big amounts, if you're really looking for the big numbers now. However, the smaller actors could be door openers. I mean, we will not be able to provide a good service for the Nordic game developers that we intend to finance if we don't have global friends that can join in the next round where there's another 0 or 2 at the end. So if you feel that you are not playing in that league, I think you should speak to us, you should speak to Sisu, of course, and you should eventually speak to Play Ventures that could be those door openers for you. Depending on their mindset, investors, they want to buy you, or at least part of you. If they're strategic investors, if they're publishers, they want all of your game, or at least all the rights. And they might want to want all of your company. You need to figure out what is it that you want. Why are you willing to part with your company? That's what we're talking about here. I'm not talking very much about project funding. There are other opportunities for that. Why are you willing to share a part of your company? And it certainly, if we're talking venture capital investment, it has to be about more than the money. As silly as it sounds, it's always about the money. Yes, but what else are they bringing to the table? But that said, all investors are really looking for good stuff to invest in. And the good thing about being specialized and focused on the game sector, as we are, the good thing is that we actually don't have all that much competition from the big guys and girls with the big funds, because they don't really know how the games industry works. Yes, they might have a captive partner on board recently that come out of the games industry, but it's not really in their blood. They're much more comfortable betting on some large marketing play for a consumer website that will upend some business or another. So, but I mean, they do want to invest in games. I mean, in Nordic Game Ventures, we will invest in games. Game studios, not in games, sorry. In game studios, we will invest in games tech, and we might consider investing in game services if we can really be convinced that it could scale. And we will only invest in the Nordics. So, and that's for convenience, it's for legal reasons, it's for cultural reasons, it's for a lot of practical reasons when we're operating on the scale that we do. And yes, you will find funding, some of you in this room. But most of you, you won't get it. Because, I mean, competition is pretty fierce, and investors want to be... Yes, investors take risks. But then, having taken a risk, they do their best to minimize it afterwards. That's sort of what entrepreneurship and risk-taking is all about. So I'm sorry, they don't need all of you, but all of you are certainly welcome and to come and talk to us. And I got 8 seconds, I got 7 seconds, I got 5 extra seconds for questions, I think. Yeah. Surprised you there, didn't I?
Oh, I just thought you had another half hour in you there. Didn't even do the dance. Can we get? There's questions. Are we straight into? We'll say the round of applause after the questions.
Is it working? Yes.
It's working.
What is a good stage to come ask for investment from an investor? Do you invest in teams, or do you have to have a prototype ready?
I mean, it's teams. Teams' track record, teams how they work together. But I mean, it's always very good to see a product. Again, a venture capitalist does not invest in your game. But of course, we were extremely interested in the game. But you must be ready to explain, at least to the venture capitalist, what your third game is going to be about. Because they are investing in your company. They want to see you build a company. And then, so you need to have a fair idea. If it's a prototype or whatever, you need to have a fair idea what's also coming, the reasoning behind why you are moving. Maybe if you're staying in one genre on one platform, or if you're doing something else. You need to have a clear strategic vision for your company. And I think I mean. It's like anything else in life. Start out too early and then keep going. So I mean, I would say that just as a rule of thumb or something, a venture capital investment takes absolute minimum 3 months. I would say 6 months is from the beginning of the discussion to the actual deal sign and payout. That's half a year. So I would say that you should, and I mean, it takes a lot of time opening up contacts and so forth. So I don't think you should be too afraid of starting too early. I mean, and venture capital, they will, and they're nice people, they will always say, well, come back when you have a little more to show. And some of them will actually mean that.
Thank you.